Next, we'll do item number 3, an application for a certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of Brooklyn. Docket number 15-3909, Block 1887, Lot 33, 83 Vanderbilt Avenue in the Wallabout Historic District, an Italianate-style wood frame house built in 1850. The application is to alter the rear facade and construct decks.
Right in the neighborhood, Chris.
Yep.
We must be back to, yeah.
Good morning, Mary Ann Burley, Preservation Staff. 83 Vanderbilt is located on the east side of Vanderbilt Avenue and is actually, here you can see a small site plan. It is actually mid-block, but its rear faces an opening in the block, and so visibility is from Clinton. The application is for rear facade alterations and includes the addition of a door at both the first and second floor, which there are none now. And then also removing these 2 top floor small double hung windows, inserting 2 sliding glass aluminum doors, and then constructing decks at both the first, second, and third floor. The third floor one will be on the existing extension, and these are the areas where the proposed decks will be. Now, I also want you to note that some of the work has already begun, as you can see from the photographs, especially on page 3. And Ava Gerber, who is the property owner, is here to fill you in more on.
Okay, good, thank you.
Hi, I'm Ava Gerber, the owner of 83 Vanderbilt Avenue. I rescued this building in 2000. And it had an existing deck. I just wanted to add this. There's a small photo of it in the handout, but I just happened to get this at a late notice. And also, I just wanted to make note that in your handout, this is incorrect, and this is correct with the additional deck here. So what I'm applying to do is replace the existing deck on the 3rd floor and then add 2 8x10 decks to the 2nd and the 1st floor. And as Mary Ann said, the work is existing, and you can see that it is within the building cutout, and there is really only one vantage point from Clinton Avenue. You can see that the sidewalk view from Clinton Avenue is obscured by a brick wall, and it's only from across the street, which is on page 4 of your handout, where you have a pedestrian view of Clinton Avenue, which is only a partial view during the winter months, half of the year, from across the street. And the photo after that shows the backside of where your back would be on that pedestrian view. There's a large academy and industrial cinder block building. Clinton Avenue is not landmarked, and the rear of the building is currently aluminum siding and not clapboard. On the 3rd to the last page of the handout is documentation of the existing deck. And then the 2nd of the last page is documentation of similar additions in the neighborhood. This is 206 Adelphi Street, which was work done in 2003, also a clapboard building with
Okay. Questions? Anyone?
Question.
Fred?
Is there currently a deck or on the third level, or is this the deck that is being installed?
There was a deck until last year of 2013, but I had a severe leak caused by the deck, and I took it down. This is a photo of it when it was existing,
I got it.
to correct the leak, and also I felt like it was a safety issue because tenants would go out on the window, and that's why I'd like to add a door, because they're gonna use it.
So that deck has been there for some time?
From before it was landmarked, but I did remove it to correct the leak, so it's not there now. I'm asking to replace that deck and add just 2 small 8x10 decks to the first and the second floor, which are only visible for 6 months out of the year from the
From the
other
back.
side of Clinton Avenue, which is not landmarked.
Okay. All right, thank you. Testimony from Barbara Zay, please.
Barbara Zay of the Historic Districts Council. The visibility of 83 Vanderbilt Avenue's rear facade is opportune in that the parking lot along of Clinton Avenue provides a window through which one may experience the charming and often secret realm of the typical row house rear and yard. This visibility could also be seen as inopportune, as changes to the rear of the house will be considered with more scrutiny. HDC finds the changes to the first and second floors to be appropriate, but the third floor deck and sliding doors, which are most visible from the public way, appear to change the scale of the building. A small door and window would be acceptable, but the proportions of the proposed opening on the third floor seem to overwhelm the facade. The photos provided with the application showing the work in progress indicate that the cutout for the sliding doors is even larger than rendered in the drawings. HDC asks that the dimensions be reviewed carefully so as to be respectful to the existing facade. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Community Board 2 in Brooklyn is waiving their opportunity to comment on this. And anything you'd like to add in response to what's been said in the testimony?
I would just respond that the...
Go right up again, that'd be great, thank
I
you.
would just like to respond that the actual cutouts are sliding glass doors, which are standard size 5 by 8 inches. And I'm asking to put 2 of them in there.
Okay, Fred?
You know, I think I'm okay with what's being presented, actually. I'm pausing a little bit on the opening up of the upper windows with the sliding glass out to the deck. I think the deck was there before. It's been removed for repair, and I think it should be able to go back. And I think to have a deck and then climb out small windows to get to it is kind of counterintuitive, to say the least, and dangerous, probably. I think we acknowledge that we use our rooftops and our decks, and we like to be outside in this city, and I think it's appropriate intervention. This building, this wonderful little building, has been intervened with over time. It looks as if many times, so there's kind of a jumble of things in the back. And I think this is cleaning it up a little bit, allowing better living conditions for the occupants, and I don't really see a reason to object to it.
I think that the decks in the lower level are fine, but I do think that the top floor openings should be kind of more, generally speaking, when we do these townhouses, even if they're not at all visible from the public way, we try to keep the top row of windows kind of resembling the historic configuration, even if what's happening below is varied. So I would say that if the top 2 doors were changed to, let's say, single 3-foot doors, that would more closely approximate the shapes of and the sense of openness to the top floor. I think that'd be fine for me. The rest of it.
I agree with Commissioner Goldblum. It's essentially just making the top floor doors a little smaller.
Yeah, I don't, we normally try to preserve the third floor, and then we would normally allow dropping one of the windows to create a door without a problem. And this really changes all the proportions of the windows and doors up on the third floor. So, you know, guess I could go along with 2 doors if necessary as opposed to 1 door, but I'd like to keep then the other 2 windows. I need to see, I want to preserve something of what, so there's a sense of what this looks like, because you can't actually see it when it's not, you know, and even if we couldn't, even in a case where you can't see it, we usually try to preserve some of that, the top floor. The rest of it, you know, I don't have any problem with none of the other changes. So everything else is fine. So
Okay.
I'm willing to approve it with.
We don't have the ability to act now because we need 6 people for a quorum, so we can't act even if we wanted to. I think appears to be a consensus for your view, Michael, that, and when we have the opportunity to take that action, we will, but we can't do it now. I would probably go along with that consensus as well. That can be then executed by the staff with the applicant. So that may happen later this morning, but right now I'll have to take a time out on this and close this hearing and act a little bit later. Motion to close, second, without objection. Thank you.
Finding that the proposed work will not cause damage to or eliminate any significant architectural features, that the proposed rear decks at the first and second floors will not extend into the rear yard beyond the existing rear facade of the extension, that the proposed doors at the first and second floors and the decks and railings will be only minimally visible from the rear at a distance from Clinton Avenue and will not detract from the historic building or streetscape, that the installation of 2 pairs of sliding glass doors will overwhelm the top story of the small clapboard building and will not maintain the scale and character of the building as an individual row house. Therefore, I recommend that the proposed sliding glass door openings, deck and railing at the 3rd floor be reduced to 2 single doors to better recall the proportions of the historic fenestration.
All in favor? Aye, opposed? Approved, thank you.
Next, we're going to do